And there we are. What is going on? Folks, I have no idea who's going to jump in. You're all going to see this as you get going. It looks like we've got like a dastardly green slime glow behind us on the fly. Yeah, it's funny you say that on the fly because they are brutal this year. I don't know what the deal is. They added so many things. My son and I were talking. Michael Bradley, what's going on, buddy? I think the Bears are. I don't know. They're not good. Frank, what's going on, buddy? You guys, I don't even know why I'm on YouTube. I feel like I owe people a little bit of love once in a while because you guys did a great job supporting me over time. So we'll see who jumps in as we go along. But I to be honest with you, whenever I get done with like busyness, Darius, what's going on, dude? Whenever I get done with like busyness and like crazy schedules, Tom, what's going on? Yeah, Tom, just because you said that, I got to change the color now. Hold on, let's see what else we could do here. No color. That's not good. Let's do this. Oh, yes. A little bit of blue. What else do we have here? Not interested. No, definitely not interested. It's too simple. What's going on here? Red? Like we're in a red light district. Let's go red. Danger zone. Danger zone. Danger Will Robinson. Danger Will Robinson. Here we are, guys. Sunday night. All right. So I don't know. Why am I on tonight? I don't know. Because I feel like getting on once in a while. Like I miss everyone, I miss everyone. I like to give people updates. I don't even know. Was it a month plus ago that I got on? I don't even know. I hope everyone is well. Frank, you know what I'm going to do, buddy? I'm going to talk with some of my good friends up in Wisconsin and ask what they do in terms of shipping to Canada. And we're going to work something out, and I'm going to figure out the best way to do it because whatever I've tried to do has been miserable so far. So you guys, listen, I think I have them upstairs. So I'm waiting on another order of my jigs that I'm having being manufactured, right? The selling of the jigs has gone really well. What have I been doing? I don't know. I've been hanging out with my kids, went back to school. Happy to be, I'm going to be honest. It's happy to be not on YouTube. Wow, this red. This is something else. So as we go here, we're going to change colors because this is kind of, oh, wow. I don't know what's going on there. We might go back to blue. Hitting buttons. There's green. As soon as you said Packers, I got to get off. I think I like that blue. So what have I been doing? So I don't know if you guys saw me make a couple of posts. I made a few posts of some swim jigs with the hybrid grass jig, swim jig mold by Dual Molds. And I had a couple of things to say about it. It takes either a Victory hook or a Mustad hook. I actually love the jig. But what I'll say is I've made some for me, and like I even have like some backups, and I just have them out right now. I'll just show you because I just think they're cool. I got some backups for me. I mean, the keepers are just awesome. This is a flat black. This, by the way, you guys, this is one of the most underrated colors in the game. It's hard to see here. I don't know. I'm freaking not going to do all this bullshit about covering things up. It doesn't show out. It's called Alewife. It's like a purple, pearlescent purple. It's a great color. But I have a friend who has some things coming up in the fishing world, and he has a jig of mine that is just something that's been. Here, I think I have more of them back here. That has just been something really. Let's see if I can see here. That has been something that he really enjoys, and it's caught some Mondo largemouth, and so I actually made some up for him. And I actually made some up in the Houdini color I've been putting out in the Midwest Finesse. And to be honest with you, I don't like making those jigs. I'm going to tell you why. Well, one, if I was making them for myself, that's fine. But I was making them for somebody else, and I will not make them for other people. And the reason is there's plenty of other jig makers out there to make that jig. That's what they do. They make those jigs. That's not me. I don't make stuff that everyone else has. That's not my intention. I think a lot of other people have that jig, that hybrid grass jig mold. It's a phenomenal mold. It catches fish. It's great for a transition between, grass lines and everything else. It's a decent swim jig, right? Right. I know, Darius, huh? But I made some up because my friend has done really well on them, and he's a Chicago boy, and I feel like there's like that home connection. I want to take care of people, so I made some up. But besides that, I'll never sell them. Past that, a few select people. Dave Richardson, what's going on, bud? And you guys, the guys that make jigs out there, I just want to make sure everyone realizes how much work goes into them. As soon as you talk about putting eyes on them, or when you see multicolored painting effects, it's a lot of work. And they're actually, when I was about a month and a half ago, I got in this little rant where I was posting saying, hey, you can't just become a jig maker in 3 months and put stuff out there. And I started getting messages from these people. I'm sorry, I'm even going to say this, but that's how I feel. I started getting messages on Instagram saying like, oh, it's not as complicated as painting crankbaits, and I've been making jigs for the past 5 months. And I'm like, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. I don't know what else to say, guys. That's it. There are reasons some jigs are better than others. That's it. And you can't, if you make your own jigs and you're making them for yourself, those are the best jigs out there. They are. But as soon as you start selling them, not everyone should be selling jigs. And the people that think they should don't know jack. That's just the truth. And there's a lot of people that don't give a shit about you, me, or the next guy out there that are selling jigs, and they're a bunch of hacks. So whatever. I mean, they can do whatever they want, but no one needs to buy jigs from anyone. You buy what makes you happy. I actually have a friend who started making like a Bitsy bug type of jig. And it is like, I said about a year and a half ago, down with the hacks, right, Liz? I said about a year and a half ago, I don't buy other people's jigs, but I'm changing my mind on that. I'm going to start buying jigs from the people that I think are the best of the best, right? So let me give you an example. Whatever, call me a fanboy. I really don't care. Like Larry Hadley, I like Larry Hadley's bucktails for when if I'm going to go on vacation. From now on, for hair jigs, if I need hair jigs, I'm calling on the fly tackle. I'm just being honest. I'm in a situation now where I used to like making all these things and doing my own, and I knew they weren't the best out there, but they were good enough. But now there's certain types of jigs that if I want, I'm 50 now, right? So I don't have time anymore. I want the best of the best. So I'm going to get them from the people I think that are the best of the best. So, you guys hear me talk about them. They're always in chat. Brian Tesh is in chat tonight. He likes to make fun of me. He'll throw some slappy old comments out here before the night's out. I don't care. He makes some of the best hair jigs in the game, and they're better than mine. And when I need hair jigs next time, I'm going to get them. And when my friends ask for them, I'm going to tell them, you go buy them from On the Fly Tackle. You need bucktails. Go to, if you're on the East Coast, there's all kinds of guys out there mugging them up bucktails. These are people that have been good to me, so I refer to people that have been good to me. Larry Hadley down in Texas, or for the Florida stuff. But whatever, so guys, I'll be honest with you. I like making jigs. I still do, but I kind of, I want to get on and talk about other things. So, and just say how people are doing. I know everyone's talking about the live scope stuff. Alf, what's going on, buddy? I hope you are doing well, buddy. Alf, by the way, when you guys hear me say Alf, it's Paladin. Alf, I hope all is well, buddy. I miss you. I know, dude. You know what the thing is? There's some people that show up on the YouTube show that aren't on, like, that I don't see on Instagram and everywhere else, and I want to stay in touch with. So I've got to find a ways to do it. Alf, if you have my email, bud, jigsquadfishing@gmail.com, send me your phone number, bud. I just want to stay in touch. Like, Liz, you too. Send me or you can do it on Instagram. I mean, send me your number. Sometimes I just like to send a text to people, say, hey, I hope all is well. I don't know. I just like checking in on people and make sure life is good, you know? And it's good for me too, you know? I'm kind of at this like sweet spot right now. I know, Elf. That's why I'm saying, you know, send me your number, because I'd like to send a message once in a while. Um, you know, you guys, it's very hard for me because listen, you know, I made the comment earlier on Instagram. When you I had a guy, his name was John Rinchick, and he used to fish the Chicago tournament scene back in the day, and he owned a bait shop called JJ's Bait and Tackle. And he's the guy that got me going with my first bait caster. My first bait caster ever was a Calcutta back in the day with a Bass Pro Shop Bionic blade, 7 foot, medium heavy. It might have been a 6.6, but nonetheless, that's the bait caster that I got going on. JP, what's going on, dude? And John always used to say, he's one of the old timers, you know. John's gone now. But he's one of the old timers back in the day. He would always say, he goes, the one thing about owning a bait shop is I don't get to fish as much anymore. And so the same holds true for when you become a jig maker. And, you know, in case anyone asks, guys, I know I probably repeat myself, and it is what it is. I know that I said for the longest time, Andrew, fishing the 262, what's up, dude? I know people, I know I told people a long time ago, David told, what's up, buddy? I know I said a long time ago I wasn't selling jigs and everything else. And then all of a sudden I decided I was going to sell jigs. And I kind of stopped doing some of the YouTube stuff. I will bring some of the old stuff back. There's some people I still want to interview and just hang out with. I do miss all of you. I really do. You know, I don't do much anymore. Like, it's like, so this is the whole, you own a bait shop story. So like so I started making jigs, right? And I'm making jigs, and it's a great pastime for me in the evening. Chillax, watch a show, tie up some jigs. And, you know, it's a few bucks, side bucks in the pocket. I love it. But the thing is, it's like you always are yearning, right? You're always yearning for a connection with people. And you guys already know how I talk. I just believe in being genuine and honest. And just, I don't know, like it's a real thing to me. Like, you know, when people are real or they're full of shit. And there's a lot of good people out there. Like, you guys, let me give you an example. I don't know if he's still in chat. Matt, South Jersey fisherman, like Brown Bait Company, Mainstream Fishing. Those guys, when they do a show, I wish I was around like when they had their shows more, because I'd like to go on and just BS with those guys because they've been good to me. And I'm not knocking other people. It's one of those things. It's like people get caught up in the limelight, whether they intend to or not. When you get caught up in the limelight and you get busier and you get more popular, like you get busy, you know, and what happens is you start missing messages. And I have plenty of people like that in the industry that I know. But I'm going to remind myself of the same things no matter whatever happens. Don't ever forget where you come from. And I always remember the people you like hanging out with the most. So like I'm looking, there's 21 people in the room. I could care less about numbers. YouTube could shove their numbers right up their arse. You know, I don't care. I wanted to jump on and say hi. Debo, what's up, bud? Painting baits. I love it. Debo always excites me, you guys. I don't know if you guys watch Debo's stuff. One of the most down-to-earth dudes out there. Zach, what's going on, dude? Debo is a painting magician. I love his stuff. Like Liz, great comment by Liz here. Hold on, where the hell's my cursor? You know, guys, this is where my cursor is. It's right here. This is my cursor. You see why it's not working? Because it's not plugged in. Smart guy. Real simple fix here. Call the tech people in to get that taken care of. Little ding, and here we are. Tom, I don't even have a boat, let alone a Jig Squad boat ramp. I got a lot of cool molds. I got a lot of cool paints. You notice I've done a lot of cleaning since I have some upstairs. I was painting some black ones today. I got vices down here. I got vices upstairs. And Tom, hey, you're local too, bud. I hope hey, I hope those jigs worked out, bud. I hope you've been able to throw them at the ponds. People have been swimming them a lot. That seems to be the thing. So I hope you have a good experience. Liz, the famous plug it in and play. That's, I love when tech at school, they'll sit there and talk about, they're like, oh, do a hard reset. Hard reset. Isn't that crazy? You know what hard reset means? Hard reset means when people don't know what the hell else is going on. So turn it off, turn it back on. Technology sometimes starts to work. It's amazing, you know. Yeah, but you guys, I've been doing well. I know, Debo, I'm going to do that. I want to get back, buddy, so you know. I want to get back to doing some regular shows and just talking about something different. I don't even know what it is yet. I know, Zach, right? Control out the lead. I want to get back just to BSing. Like, funny enough, like I'm sitting there last night. I go, oh, it's the weekend, Saturday night. Debo show's on. Oh, that's great. I got the homecoming dance. What a fun time, you know. I just want to get back to hanging out and just enjoying things. I started getting a little crabby. You guys knew that. You know, I started complaining about things. I don't like to. I complain sometimes, and I don't like to complain. I want to go off into my own little world and just have fun. Tom, look at this. I just want to say this. Tom, by the way, my cursor is working now because I plugged it in. Rocket scientist Kuda. Tom got some of my finesse footballs. Let's just say I'm getting better at fishing jigs. Tom, when in doubt, just swim them. That's the deal. Debo, if you're still in chat, brother, I sent some jigs to Debo because he's a black and purple nutbag, and I love him because of it. So I call that color that I make smoke show. So I sent Debo some of my prototypes before I had the final version. They're the same 60-degree line tie, 1/8 ounce football head, no weed guard, same amount of skirting material. They're almost identical, other than they're just not being manufactured now and shipped to me, meaning the heads themselves. So Debo has some of them. Debo, if you have them, throw them on a spinning rod and hang on. They're freaking a lot of fun. Alf, you got to have a cocktail once in a while. It helps adulting be much easier, and you know this. That's like when in doubt, go with an old fashioned or a Manhattan. That's as simple as times need to be. Little Rich, just saying a little. Hope everyone's doing well. The people, right? I know, Debo, and I know you get so much stuff, brother. So listen. I just want you to go and throw them and like throw one to Randizzle, whatever the heck needs to happen. I'll get you some of the new varieties in time, my friend. But I just appreciate you for being good to me, you know. So, yeah, guys, I'm doing well. I'm designing colors that a few colors. Like I have people that are stretching my mind. So like I have my own opinion of like the jig styles I want to make because I'm like all these other colors have been made. Like what different? You guys know I've been big on like translucency, pearls, iridescence, and so like I don't always say those things, but I've really made an effort to make jigs that fit in that category. And then I have some friends that are like, I want this color, this color, this color, and I'm thinking, yeah, I don't want to make that. I don't want to make that. But you know what do? I freaking make it. And then I'm like, I want to call this jig not for sale. You know, so like I want to come up with these crazy freaking names. Little Rich, anyone from the East Coast is not going to miss the Patriots tonight. Oh, okay. My buddy from Cook. Wow. Oh, wow. Look at that. Rich is going to throw a little bit of love to Chicago and say, I got a little priority over the Patriots. This is amazing. I actually have some blue on behind me, so I don't know if that helps out. I could switch off to a little red so we can sit there and replicate any type of New England fandom that comes into play tonight. But it is what it is. All right, so here's Debo's question. Let me see what we have here. What's one color combo that you feel works in your area, but maybe not other places? That I'm going to extend that question to anyone in chat because that is a fantastic question. I Little Rich. I think you've told me this before in Oak Park. Alf is saying black and purple for colors that work in his area. Look at Frank. Liz, you got to tell Frank, don't be putting me out there. You make your own choices. I will tell you a color just for me. And this is a bait, you guys. If you don't use this, so be it. So, one color that is like, and I'm going to say the bait too. The bait that I absolutely love that kills fish in the Chicago area for me is a saltwater assassin by Bass Assassin, but specifically the saltwater assassin line. It's a pumpkin seed with a chartreuse tail, which is really a green. It's almost like a straight green tail. It's not a green chartreuse. It's green. That color absolutely kills for largemouth fishing in the riverways, and I've been using it for about 20 years, and it kills. But one color I like on top of that is the saltwater assassin. It's a 4-inch swim bait. And I think they call it canary. So it's a purple with a chartreuse tail, and I absolutely love it. Brown and blue. David, there you go. Something other than black and blue. Debo saying GP and perp. Look at Andrew. Amber and purple. Yes, I do know, my friend. Tom is saying Chicago River fishing should be good as it cools off a little. Yes, it will be. And you'll start seeing a little more size on the fish as well, my friend. Al, thank you, buddy. Thanks for hitting the like button. You guys, apparently YouTube likes these like buttons. I can care less. Slap the like button, whatever you want to do. I'd prefer if you ever want a couple of jigs, just order some jigs from me. It's all good. Liz is saying, I fished with a fella who used to kill it in the Chicago River and surrounding areas due to his hammer. And Debo, I secretly think that everyone is a member of the royal family, and just secretly everyone likes purple. How can you like, I made it sound like canary. Purple and with a chartreuse tail was like a rare color. It just kills. And actually, if you talk about worms, like a 7-inch power bait worm, they call it blue fleck. Best worm ever, curly tail worm ever invented. 7-inch power worm, blue fleck, which is, it's not blue at all. It's really purple with a little bit of fleck in there. It's awesome. Yes, it's hard not to love purple. I don't know what it is about purple. Liz, is this a person that's up here or somebody down in Florida with you right now? This is a great comment too. OTF's like, what shade of purple? I dye a half dozen different shades. So listen, I'm going to tell you guys this. I don't even know if there's any on the page now for Brian and them. Liz, I hear you. Moved down a couple years ago. Bass, what's going on, bud? Oh, stop it, Devo. I did not mean to say tequila sunrise. That does work. I have to be honest. I can't throw shade at tequila sunrise. So listen, on the fly, guys, he freaking shows me this past winter. He sends me pictures like he antagonizes me, like he's provoking me. He sends me pictures of some of these bucktails that no one else has, and it's got these shades of purple in there that are like a light shade of purple, almost like the light shade of purple that I use in my smoke show. Like I would say comparable. It's just a light purple, like an Easter egg type of purple, and it is, it's awesome. And he's got a whole bunch of shades. And if you guys haven't been on their site, you should go check it out. They're freaking great. I absolutely love them. All right, JP's saying blue fleck power worm is a staple on the Potomac. All the old timers throw that worm. JP, I don't know what it is. It is hard. Like when I'm in doubt going to the pond, like pond fishing for largemouth, I always have that with the kids and stuff like that. And especially, I will tell you, I don't know what it is, particularly in the spring for largemouth, like early spring, that color absolutely crushes. Liza's just talking about herself again. All right. So Al says, I guess it depends on the bait we were talking about. Swimming baits, purple is great with white, powder blue or silver. But jigs, I've never caught anything on the bottom with purple. Elf, you can't. So yeah, purple works on the bottom too, my friend. Particularly with green pumpkin. Gary, what are you saying there? Can. Let me see if Gary's got more there. I'm behind, I think. Good comment. What does purple look like deep in the water? Expand on that, Brian. If you have an answer to that, I want to hear you say it. Debo. Dave Holmquist. Why does that sound so familiar? What's going on? My scroller is going cockeyed. Holmquist, Gary. Bass. God, look at this. Another vote for Tequila Sunrise. Random names. Can't believe that Berkley has basically discontinued the blue fleck color. One of my 3 favorite colors. Garrett, they actually, listen, I'm glad you just said that because Berkley also used to make in their 3-inch tubes the blue fleck color as well, which is another great bait. The 3 is it a 3-inch? Is it a 3-inch? It's a very thin profile tube that Berkley makes in the blue fleck that I've had, and maybe just I have too much shit. Maybe it's not out anymore. Now I'm the Liz. That worm gets bit everywhere. Dirty water, clean water, it crushes for sure. Frank, nightly closures in the county jail. All right, so Brian's replying. So 20 feet below the surface, purple looks like bright blue. Get your scuba gear on and see what the fish see. Oh, exactly. Let me go get my snorkel right now, Brian, especially up in the Wisconsin water. I think I'll feel like great. Yeah. Liz is saying all kinds of variations of purple. The old power crawl and the power hogging. Oh, blue fleck, Gary's saying. Blue, since it has the deep. Oh, look at Alf guessed what On the Fly was saying. How about red shadworms? Buddy, a friend of his swears by it, and he tried for so long, kept crawling back to Tequila Sunrise. It's hard to beat Tequila Sunrise because basically if you hold it up, like you see that core color, it's that deep blood red color, and then the translucency on the sides. It is hard to beat Tequila Sunrise. And I actually think, doesn't Berkley make like a green color that has a similar effect where it's got like a deep central core? It's like a green. I forgot what the name of it was. Like a deep green colored central core, and the outside might be green with maybe gold flake. Do I have that right? Zach, Bama Craw, my all-time favorite color. You know what, Zach? It's interesting you say that because I'm not against Bama Craw, but I don't use it that much. Liz, gooseberry and plum. All right, candy bug. I'm a huge candy bug fan. And then there's another one called something plum. Debo, help me out with this. Does anyone else in chat know this? So there's candy bug, which is a phenomenal color, and I'm a big fan, which is purple like. And then there's gosh, what is it? Something. Oh, no, sour grape. I really like sour grape as well. Sour grape and then candy bug are 2 phenomenal colors by Zoom that on the baby brush hog that is 2 of my baby brush hog is one of my all-time favorite baits, and sour grape and candy bug are 2 of my favorite colors. Gooseberry kind of starts to fall in that range of colors, but gooseberry, isn't gooseberry like a black base? See, Frank's leaving right now. Frank's going out to the pond. He's going to cast a little bit. Black grape, blackberry, all good. Yeah, all in that range. Yeah, God, it's so great not talking. What did I put in the title for the show? We're talking about jigs. Fuck jigs. Jigs are great, but I like other things too. And you know what? I'll tell you something else. Somebody said earlier, if you could go out right now, what would you throw, Murph? It wouldn't be a jig. I would go out right now and I would throw a Texas rigged 3-inch chigger craw. Why? I don't know. I like chigger craws. They get bit. See, Eliza, that's the deal. Not everyone admits that they love purple, but it is the color of royalty. So we all default back to it. And if we don't default back to it, we're forced to default back to it because we're all just peasants in this game of fishing. And we're forced back into paying homage to the land and the kingdom. I don't know where that came from tonight. That could be a little improv popping through. I'm not certain. All right, Bass, caught a few on a jig this weekend. Right. All right, another topwater. I hate to say it, but all right, a couple topwaters. One, I still love toads in the fall. You know, like old school horny toads. I still love them. I love the old school pop R's. Your liege. I freaking love it. I feel like we got some Monty Python coming on here soon. I still love throwing a horny toad. I love the pop R's. And I'm going to tell you, here's another bait that I have always liked and has always done well for me in a crazy, I don't know, there's probably 20 different varieties now, but I've always had a box of the old school Bass Pro Shops poppers that are 3/8 ounce. I believe they're 3/8 ounce, or are they 5/8? I've always had good luck with them. They've always done well. I love a popper any time of the year. If I'm in the rivers, though, Debo, I will tell you this. You guys, I'm telling you, if you don't have these and you ever fish a river, you need to go get them. 1/8 ounce Strike King, the mini buzz baits. I throw white and I throw black, and they get crushed. You can use them in the ponds and stuff. Like, it's good for the kids and stuff like that to throw at the ponds. And you can cast them a country mile. I almost feel like I can cast the 1/8 ounce further than I can cast a 1/4 ounce because it's smaller and it doesn't get caught up in the wind as much. But I really love a buzz bait this time of year as well. I just do, but that's what I like, So, all right. So Alpha's saying a fluke. What a great bait, right? Brian Tesh, I just sorted 250 purple bucktails. So, like, he's like a bear. So on the fly tackle is like a bear. He's kind of getting ready for the winter season and hawking his wares and everything else that he's creating. He's just getting them all ready. 250. That's a lot. It's a lot of bucktail. Andrew's saying he has some Bass Pro poppers. They walk well and pop. I love it. Yeah, you guys, I don't know why. I tried them years ago, and it's just kind of been a standout. I'll share the name of the one that I use because I know there's different varieties like the XP series and all these other things. I'll share the ones that I use. I really like them, and I'm going to be honest with you. I actually like them for the saltwater as well, and I change out the hooks on them and put some saltwater trebles on them. Debo, rivers and creeks, right? But you know what? If you have access to great pond fishing or small little lake fishing, why go that route, right? You go where you have resources for, right? Mini buzz days get a bit well in the fall. I've caught some big fish on an 1/8 ounce buzz bait. JP's saying, and I don't know why JP. Like I started out they've always been in like a little carry box that I have. I'll see. Do I have it down here? Let me look. It might be here. It is not down here. It's out in the garage. I love it so much because I have things in there like the mini torpedoes, some blade baits. I have some smaller size like 1/4 ounce rattle traps. And actually, I'll tell you, there's so many different rattle traps on the market now, that genre of baits. But I always was in love with the Rapala ones, and I fished them forever, and I've done really well with them. Like the red craw ones in the spring, I had a lot of luck with them for a lot of years, and I just haven't switched that much. And I don't have a need to buy 7,000 new ones. I just don't. So Liz is saying she's hardly thrown a topwater this whole entire year, considering I can fish year round here. That's kind of sad. You know, Liz, it's interesting because what confuses me about that of like Florida fishing is like how does the seasons impact it? You know, like you know the Midwest because you used to live up here. But like it's funny to me, like how does the seasonal change in terms of fish and what they do change down that way? So I can imagine it's interesting just being able to throw a topwater more often. But if there's baits you enjoy more, by all means, you know, like you're gonna fish what you like more. White bass, the white bass pro poppers are my buddies go to. Swap hooks and a dance is really good for a $4 bait. Alf, I my all-time best bait of all time for topwaters has been the Bass Pro Shop. And it might even be called that. The XPS series is I'm gonna call it a shad color. It's just like a silver chromish. It's not chrome, it's silver, holographic silver with a black back. And that has been my all-time number one popper, even over the Rebel poppers, poppers, and everything else. It was a bait that always got bit, you know. Debo, but Crocagator from Mike Bradley. Debo saying, I'm glad I don't live in Florida. I basically just fish a frog, then a frog and more frogs. All right, Liz, I get it. Much later in the season. And then Zach's saying, you know, Zach, what a deadly bait that Pit Boss is because of if I'm not mistaken, right? Because of the curvature of like the claws on that Pit Boss. I'm just saying, I have not fished the Pit Boss, but how it looks straight up, like that looks like a killer bait. Yeah, right, Liz, and the spawn much earlier. Andrew saying, wrecked him on a blue truce, Livingston, walking bass in Florida, walking boss in Florida. Can't get bitten up here. Uncle Rico is my go-to popper. Yeah, you know, Brian, it's interesting. And you know, Brian, I'm going to tell you, and I'm not ashamed to say this, whenever I fish so there's two areas where I predominantly fish for smallmouth, right? One is the river systems, the northern half of Illinois, and then the second is the Great Lakes. And I've never, on the river systems, I've always used a popper. On the Great Lakes, I don't get to fish them enough that I've used a popper that much. It's just been my experience because of what I've had time for. Alf saying it's funny thinking about Florida versus Arizona. We both fish year round, but the fish behavior is very different. It's so interesting to me because you get ingrained with what you're used to. And so if you live in one area and then go to another, you obviously have two reference points, right? But for me, it's kind of like, you know, I have to say, you guys, I love bass, but even though I don't fish as much as I used to, usually fall turns into fall fishing. Like now, like I'm talking about fall coming up, it turns into, and I don't fish all the time. I'm gonna say this. It turns into king salmon fishing, and then it turns into walleye fishing, and I classically have not gone after smallmouth as much in the fall as probably some other people that are smallmouth people on here. And the reason is because we go out and cast for king salmon and, king salmon, and then it turns into walleye going into the winter for as long as you can handle it. I have friends who go out all winter long for walleye. And I love bass. I'm glad I've gotten back to it, but I love other species too. I just don't get to fish as much anymore. So I've kind of stayed in my comfort zone of the bass world, you know. July and August down in Florida, I can imagine that being crazy. Alf Paladin here is saying I'm fishing Lake Gunnersville in late October. I'm so curious to see how that goes. I've never been anywhere east of Texas for bass fishing. That's interesting. Andrew's a Wisconsin guy, folks. So just across the border, so like southern Wisconsin. We have one Angler's Choice left first weekend of October though. So, but Andrew is a walleye guy, so you'll see him fishing. Andrew, I don't know why I can't think of the name. What's the name? I call him the Butterbean. The Butterbean Jigs. On the Fly knows this too. You fish him a lot as well, Andrew. I know that. Fall is incredible on the Great Lakes for smallmouth. Bri, you know what? You're right, bud. You know what it is? I I don't have the invites to go out. Like I'm not gonna lie, things have changed. Like you guys have to understand, the people I cut my teeth on the Great Lakes with are guys that are all, frankly, in their 70s now. And so, like, I'm the young buck. Like, I was the young kid that they took out, and they taught me how to fish. The funny part was, simultaneously, all while this was happening 20, 30 years back, I was the guy that was out fishing the rivers. And, like, I'll get in the river in my waders in the winter. I can't handle the cold like I used to, but I just don't have the invites anymore. I don't own a boat, right? So you go where you can, right? And but I will say this: I'm appreciative of the people that have taught me the things that I know, and they're the same people that made me a jig designer, and I get a lot of joy out of that too. But I do. Like Brian, like I got to hit you guys up and say, hey, if I know you guys are going out some weekend, like I should head up north. Like it's not a bad drive for me to come up and see you guys. And I have to try and find ways to be more social too. I can't get swept up in this game of just making jigs. It's got to be a healthy balance for me. So I don't know. It is what it is. It's all good. What else do I have going on around here? Do you guys know I'm making jigs? I make these finesse football jigs. I have new colors that I'm always coming up with. What else has been going on around here? I have. That's all I've been doing. All I've been doing is making finesse footballs. I'm sorting out some of my saltwater stuff. I do still have. I don't know if I talked. You guys saw this last time. I still have a lot of those slider heads that I had available. They're 2X strong. I haven't really been. I only made them in like 2 colors, but this is just a straight up. It's basically a bonefish jig, you guys. It's a 2X strong, 1/8 ounce. This is basically, and I started tying on these. You get a reference idea for what the head looks like. They're a little. It's almost like keeled on the top, and what that does, that when it's keeled like that, it allows it to flutter a little bit and allows it to drift a little bit more, kind of like a hover jig. I have those in 2 colors. And I'll be honest with you, the only reason I was selling those and I made some up is because no one else is selling those, right? So anyway, just like a few different things out there. I don't want to make the things that other people do, just, it is what it is. So 513 plumbing. Let's see. Brian Schmidt Baits makes a good Ned Dread head. Brian makes a phenomenal Ned Dread, and it's so unique. You guys, you can find Brian Schmidt stuff on Tackle Warehouse. I think he has it on his site as well, but go look up the Ned Dread. It's a phenomenal bait. Brian is a world-class tire. He actually now used to be with Umpqua in the fly fishing industry, but it is now with Montana Fly Company. So Brian Schmidt is one of the fly selection managers, and I had him on the show when I first started JIGSQUAD. Brian Schmidt is one of the fly selection managers for Montana Fly Company, MFC, which is a world-renowned company in a lot of different ways. So Brian's a great person. He designed some great bass jigs. I love him to death. He's been a good inspiration for me. But you got to go see the Ned Dread, and it is available on Tackle Warehouse. I do know that. So Zach's saying, Cooter, you ever throw the size 60 whopper plopper for river smallies? Zach, I'm going to be honest with you. This is the truth. I am not a whopper plopper person. And I'm going to tell you why. The first whopper ploppers I bought were from a custom bait maker, and I won't say their name. I don't know why. I just don't want to say their name. They design some cool stuff that looks cool, but they're a custom crankbait painter, and they suck. The first time I put it in the water, the paint all bubbled and peeled and garbage, and that was my first experience with a whopper plopper. And I just said, I was angry. I'm like, I'm never throwing one of these again. And it was a custom job as opposed to the, some of the brand ones. And I never went back. It was so crazy. But I do have friends that swear by the whopper ploppers, particularly for river fishing. and they absolutely love it. Like they would go to that over everything else. For me, it was like one of those, like it was tainted from that one experience, and then I never went to it. So just being honest. Is that so? Alf asks, is that why he's been there more than Denver? Alf, that is very astute to you. That is very astute of you. That is exactly why he's been up in. For anyone who doesn't know what Paladin is talking about, Alf, Brian Schmidt is actually resides in Colorado, but has been up the last year's time up in Montana. So however that works out finally between family and work, yes, Alf, that's why he's been up north in Montana. So that is why. Andrew, you too never owned a Whopper Plopper. Yeah, Chapo's wasn't the Chapo one of the first ones that came out, or who was the first Whopper Plopper that came out? Oh my God, John DeMay, my guy, John. It is so crazy. I almost had a Dem Jigs hat on tonight, of which I want to order one from you next time I see you. I actually want to talk to you about the shows this winter for Chicago. You guys, listen, I'm going to tell you something. You want to talk about people that later in my jig making life have been an inspiration for me. That's one right there. John DeMay from Dem Jigs is a guy that I look up tremendously. I love him to death. He's a Chicago guy. I love him to death. I don't know what else to say. He's been a big inspiration for me. He just has, for a lot of different reasons. He's a good person. He makes some of the best football jigs in the entire industry. He is, in my opinion, one of the first people that have been able to replicate some things that have come out of the JDM market in jigs within the States and being made and manufactured in States. And that's John DeMay from Dem Jigs. And you can find some of John's stuff on Tackle Warehouse too. He's a good person. I appreciate him tremendously. So actually, you should go back and see. We did a show with Dem Jigs. If you search through the archives of Jig Squad, he's on there. So John's a great person, and I appreciate him. I look up to him tremendously. He's like an old brother. I don't think John has too many years on me for what it's worth, but that's the joke I'm going to stick with. I think we're somewhat close. John, I love you, brother. I appreciate you. But what else is happening? You guys, listen. You should be looking and watching to see what else comes out there. So, you know, everyone always talks about like what they want to fish and things like that. But I'm going to tell you a couple things. This is my opinion, and that's because I'm a finesse fisherman. I'm the guy that fishes ponds with 1/8 ounce and 16th ounce Texas rigs on monoline. Sometimes still, Johnny, I appreciate you, dude. And so what I'm telling you, if I were you, I would start looking at some of the finesse things that are coming out in the finesse game. So from some of the guys on the pro tours, from some of the jigs in the scene, there's a lot of good jigs out there. You know, like there are, you know that. But I would start looking and see what some of the finesse things out there and find out what you can and cannot do with these finesse setups. Fish go through cycles. You know, they're always going to bite what they've always bitten, but you also have to start playing the game. And the jig game right now, I personally think is go big or go small. It doesn't mean in the middle, the 3/8 and half isn't going to get bit still. And a lot of guys 3/4, but I'll actually throw 3/4 on the high end. There's two things that I look for when a jig falls. It's going to fall fast, or it's going to fall slow. And people have different opinions of that. But you know what? I still to this day will fish 3/8 ounce or higher with tubes as an example. And tubes are very similar to jigs to me in many ways. And I do that because I want to fast fall. So you got to understand, when we're fishing the southern end of Lake Michigan, we're fishing gigantic rock, rebar walls, concrete. I want things to fall fast, right? And 9 times out of 10, when you're fishing structure, you're getting smoked on the fall on the south end of Lake Michigan. Then when you move out, then it's a little different. When you're crawling across cover, I believe that the finesse game is helping change the experience. But make what you want and use what you want. Oh, Alf, 8th tide swimmers. Yeah, absolutely, dude. They're 8th ounce jigs. Guys, you got to understand something. Our mind, Andrew, you say 3/8 ounce tube. I hate to tell you, that's my favorite weight for a tube as well. People are like, that's way too heavy. I'm like, well, that's fine. You don't have to throw your rod out like I do. I can fish a 3/8 ounce tube jig the way most people can fish a 1/4 ounce tube jig. I don't want to say 1/8 because when you get down to 1/8, it's all about the fall, right? When you pop it off the bottom, it just falls slower. You can't replicate it, but I can fish a 3/8 the way other people fish 1/4. So, I like the finesse game. I think it's interesting to hear what other people say, but this is what I want people to start talking about. And I don't want to mess people's brains up, but I have this thing in my head that I've always had. I go, if I want to go above a 1/4 ounce, I'm throwing a bait caster. That's just the truth. That's what I do. If I want to go above a 1/4 ounce, I'm throwing a bait caster. If I want to throw a 1/4 ounce or less, I'm typically throwing a spinning rod. Because of the way I can control it, what I want it to do. But here's what I want you to remember. My little 1/8 ounce football heads that I have being manufactured, right? They're 1/8 ounce. Whenever somebody tells you, like, when Mike Murphy tells you, I have an 1/8 ounce finesse football jig. And when any other company tells you that, that's what the jig weighs when it's just the jig, nothing else on it. My 1/8 ounce finesse football jig, after it's tied up and the skirts on it, it weighs out at almost 3/16 of an ounce. So when you're throwing a 3/8 ounce jig and some company tells you it's a 3/8 ounce jig, I'm telling you that jig is weighing out at a 1/2 ounce, right? Or very close to a 1/2 ounce, right? You just have to know that. I don't want to confuse people's brains, but when people tell me an 1/8 ounce finesse jig is too small, I'm like, you're wrong, because it actually weighs more than you think it weighs. But the same holds true as you go up the ladder. A 3/8 ounce weighs more than you think it weighs. A 1/2 ounce weighs more than you think it weighs. And not to mention, you guys, listen, take a 3/8 ounce jig, a skirted jig. It's going to weigh out closer to 1/2 ounce. And then you throw a plastic on there. Minimally, that's a 5/8 ounce jig and more close to 3/4, not quite 3/4. But you take a chigger craw and put it on as a trailer. Yeah, damn, exactly. All I know is that popped, John DeMay, that popped on my screen exactly as I was saying it. And then add the chigger craw. Now you're talking about, so if you start thinking about that in terms of what you can actually cast and handle on your bait caster, you're throwing over what you think you're throwing. And so once that realization happens, then you go and reverse engineer everything and say, all right, now how do I have to adjust my cast control in order to be throwing a 1/4 ounce bait? Okay. Or a 3/16 ounce finesse jig with plastic on the back. Because if you take my 1/8 ounce finesse football jig, which weighs out at almost 3/16 of an ounce, and you throw a trailer on top, now you're probably 5/16 of an ounce. Can you throw 5/16 of an ounce on your bait caster? You probably thought you could, but the reality is everything you're probably throwing that's close to that weighs more than that. So the point is, we just have to retrain our brains to understand that there's adjustments we need to make in terms of cast control and how we go about doing that. And it definitely can be done. And then, and John DeMay, and then it's wet. Let me scroll back up because I start rattling on and I'm, all right, Bass, I throw an 1/8 ounce. Yep, good. Andrew, 3/8 ounce. Yep. Let's see. Crappie jig, Danberger. Yeah, 1/4 ounce in ponds for largemouth bass. You know why? Because when you're on the bottom of the pond, you get hung up. It's just true. You know, you need to be able to bounce that jig or do whatever you're going to do, even if it's Texas rig. Like a 1/4 ounce, if I use a 1/4 ounce Texas rig in the ponds, it doesn't do what I need it to do. I use 1/8 and 16th ounce. And 1/8, I only use 1/8 when it's crazy windy out, so I could lessen the bow in my line. So if you want to talk about a finesse guy, I guess I really am a finesse guy. Yeah, there you go, 513. Alf saying about a KK Kestrel, threw it last week. I was throwing weightless fluke on 8-pound fluoro as far as I could throw my spinning rods with the same line. It's just interesting. You just have to make some adjustments. You know, just make some adjustments. Alf, that's fine if you. You know what's funny? What I think is so awkward when I watch the saltwater guys using bait casters. The saltwater guys use spinning rods for almost everything. They do use bait casters. Don't get me wrong. The redfish guys, the trout guys, but I find that tremendously interesting. Like I'm like, this is weird to me, you know. So it's okay. I think the reality is, guys, you know, there's all different kinds of things you could throw in. I'll tell you this. As we get into the winter, there are a few people out there that I still want to do interviews with. I'm not going to say who. There are guys, and I'm just going to say, if anyone sees it, there are guys that I had shows scheduled for all this past summer when in May, when I'm like, I'm done, guys. I'm sorry, I canceled those shows, but to me, I needed my life back, you know, and the grind is real, and I made that decision that I'm not looking to be famous or anything else. I'm going to win the hearts of this industry. I promise you that, and I could care less. It's not about selling jigs. I sell jigs, but I only sell certain kind of jigs. Past that, I want to work for a company someday. That's the truth, you know. But I have a higher level of standards, and I'm not selling out to anyone, you know. And so I don't know. I don't know what it'll be. I miss doing the YouTube stuff a little bit. I don't really want to do the YouTube stuff though. I'm not interested. I do like the graphics. Like that little graphic for today, I went and made in like 3 minutes. I made adjustments to other stuff I had. I'm like, boom, 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 done. If somebody ever needs help with graphics or you want to do a little logo for yourself, let me know. I will charge you money, but not a lot. You know, like $30, like easy peasy stuff. Why? Because I don't know. It makes it worth my time. If you want a little something, I know, Alf, so many good people around here. And you know what the funny thing is? Almost everyone that's been in here, I think everyone has been around. You know, everyone I've seen in here is all people that have been around. And you guys, I'm just going to tell you. So like I don't know if it's even 2 years yet. I have no idea. Maybe it's a little less, 1.5 years. Everyone that's supported me along the way, I appreciate you guys. You know, I don't know. I just do. I don't need anything from you. You know, did I tell you guys, like YouTube had this thing where you could do memberships? And a lot of my friends on YouTube do the memberships. But for me, I'm like, I can't in good faith do those because I don't want to owe anyone. I don't want to always do it. I want people to buy a damn jig and I send you something. You know what I mean? So if you guys ever want to do something, jigsquadfishing@gmail.com, buy some damn jigs from me. I could care less, you know, or just come on and say hi. I could care less, you guys. I just want people to have a good experience, you know. Maybe this winter, you know what we'll do? Maybe I'll do a live show sometime and I'll get some people that are in chat to come on live and then I'll quiz you guys. I know, Frank, I promise you, dude, I'm going to send you the colorways and you tell me what you want. And we're going to figure it out. You realize you're going to get hosed on shipping though. Frank's in Canada, guys. I don't understand what it is. We've got this stupid border that like instantly changes shipping for everything, but we're going to figure it out, dude. Some way or the other. And I will tell you this. Is anyone in chat that's bought them? I mean, Seltzer, are you in here? Is Tom Morehouse in here? Where's Anthony? There's people in here that have already bought jigs. They send me pictures all the time of catching fish. So all I'm telling you guys, they catch fish. So, Debo, have you sent stuff up to Canada yet? Because if you have, I got to talk to you because I can't. Every time I go to look it up, it's like they confuse, you know, it confuses the hell out of me. Yeah, Frank's like, Murph, you got to I want some jigs. And I'm like, I can't figure out how to ship to Canada. Besides going in. And then they tell me, you know, it's $135 or something. Like, I don't want that to happen. So I got to figure something out. I'll figure out how you've done it. I just know it's a pain in the arse, Frank. You know that. We've already talked, dude. Somehow, some way, we'll figure something out. But you guys, all I'll tell you is keep being good to people. We'll meet at the border. Right. I know, Frank. Like, it shouldn't be that darn hard. It shouldn't be that darn hard. You guys, a lot of good things happen as we transition from Colin, thanks, dude. If you're Colin, I know you're on Instagram. If you're interested, just message me, dude. And then I'll show you all the colorways. And I have pictures of all the different colorways available. I'll show you the colorways. You can pick what you want. And I tell people, don't pay until after I'm all done. And I let you know. And then we settle up then. Right. 4 times price, Tebow says. But you guys, I'm going to try and jump on as we get to the winter. I'm certain I'm going to jump on a little bit more. I do want to do some crossovers, even some like little pick-me-up shows. We'll pick like a silly little topic and I'll get like Debo and somebody else on. And even if we just go, like the goal should always be the regular shows. It's nice when you get to hang around for a little longer, but for the pick-me-up shows, they should be 1 hour, you know. Get on, hang out a little bit. Everyone enjoys themselves. Get on with their evening. You know, that'll be the goal. And maybe I'll be able to include some people in it. But, yeah, I'm happy my homecoming week is over with. Dances, events, evening things. I'm happy the kids enjoyed themselves. My son had fun at his homecoming. But I appreciate you all, and I hope you are healthy and you take care of each other and check in on people. Say hellos, whether you're on Instagram, emails. Email me and send me your phone number. I'll check in with you once in a while. Alf, you specifically. But besides that, you guys, I hope you have a good evening. You will see a little more of me as we get into the winter. But I wanted to jump on and say hello to you with a little blue power lights in the background. Let's change it before we go. There's a lot of stuff going on over here. Let's hit the button. That doesn't change that much. Oh, yeah. Purple. Yep. Orange. Let's get to red. Oh, yes. The red light district. Peace, guys. This has been Jig Squad. We will be back another night as we get into the winter. I appreciate you tremendously. Be good to each other. Keep fishing jigs. Peace, folks. Have a good evening. I think I have some like cool little outro yos. No copyright outro. I should throw the one up with the music because I could care less if they censor me. Peace.